Woo. Slide right on back in. All right. So good morning, everybody. How's it going? I'm gonna take a little bit of time where everybody gets up, and I'm gonna do an official introduction of everybody. So first, want to make sure everybody's sharing this out. This is the first week of April, first access denied of April 2021. And we got some pretty special guests that are going to be coming on, and I'll let them introduce themselves. But before we get started, everybody just check in. Please share it out to your networks, to your family, to your friends. Let me put this on here. And then I'm gonna bring in our first Mr. Driver, and then we'll bring in Cliff and Torvis. But let's see. Good morning, Thomas.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. So I just you get the time to just introduce yourself. You know who you are. Are you a native? Did you go to school here? Just about 2 or 3 things that people should know about you as Natural Propel's newest organizer. Then I'm gonna get this screaming baby while you introducing yourself.
Yes, I'm Thomas Driver. I am a native of Nashville, Tennessee. I went to Stratford. I have a 10th grader, a 5th grader, and a 2nd grader. I'm working with Nashville Propel. I've been doing youth organizing here in Nashville, and I'm proud and I'm glad to be a part of this great movement that's going on. We had a great turnout and a lot of fun at last weekend's with partnering with the Leach Foundation. Josh put on for the city of Nashville, and the kids were ecstatic, and we all had a great time.
All right, and thank you for that. And then we can see Miss Johnson checking in. So now I'm gonna bring in Mr. Maya. Mr. Maya, if you can say hello to the people, introduce yourself, and tell them 2 or 3 sentences that they probably don't know about you, and why is education important to you?
Hello, everybody. How we doing today? Well, guys, my name is Clifton Maya. I'm a native Nashville as well. Been knowing a lot of these guys with Natural Propel since high school days, to be honest. Went to Stratford High here, and after TSU, I moved. Been in Texas for a while. Just came back to do a little work out here as well. And education has always been very important to me ever since I graduated high school, and I noticed that when I went out into like professional world, and I met other people that went to high school, and I would share stories of how I was like for me to go to high school. I thought all high schools were like this. Mm-hmm. And then the older I got, the more I learned that not all high schools are like this. So that's always been very and just important to me. It's just and then also living in Nashville, living in very close to 37208, which is the school to prison pipeline in the whole nation. It's always been very just important to me, just having kids that grew up in the same neighborhood that I grew up in, that were doing the same things that I was doing at their age, just from playing around and just walking the streets and playing basketball with their friends, and just knowing that I can come back to the city and I can be a positive force in their life is really important to me as well. So,
man. And appreciate that, Cliff and Thomas. And again, Cliff and Thomas went through our cohort 7 fellowship. And they were just connecting us to people, and we were doing parent meetings. And I was like, well, this is what the work is about, like connecting with parents, meeting parents where they are, and then taking them along this process of leadership development. Because when we think about Propel, like the biggest thing that we always talk about is how do we grow the leadership of parents? And so it's a couple things that we're going to talk about today. And if I'm missing something, parents out there in the universe, let us know. But we want to give the MMPS, the Metro Schools, the summer school update. It starts June 7th. Applications went live. We also want to talk about, based on what we heard last week, former Governor Bill Haslam has a tutoring program. And so we want to read an article about that just to give you guys information. I think based on what we were hearing, I think this will really match up with a lot of parents in the Propel universe. And then, of course, in May, the end of April and then May, we got prom And then we got high school graduation that's coming back to metro schools. And right now it's proposed to be in person. But before that, we got TN Ready test that we'll talk about. Will you be sending your kids back to school to take the TN Ready tests? I think we have to reach an 80% threshold in order to be under mandate from the state. And then we'll end it today. We're just talking about some of our premier events. We got our campaign training coming up the 20th. And then, of course, we got our speaker series. But let's jump right into it. And I'll pull this up. I want to talk a little bit about the tutoring program. And I'll bring this on the screen. And let me see. And can you guys see this? So essentially, it's Tennessee Tutoring Corps will return for a second year to tackle pandemic-related learning loss. And this was an article that was just released yesterday. And essentially, it says, former Tennessee Governor Bill Haslam and his wife, Chrissy Haslam, this summer again, hoping to tackle learning loss and help grade school students at risk or already falling behind because of COVID-19 classroom closures. It says the couple launched the second year of the statewide tutoring corps program Tuesday, which was yesterday. It piloted last year. And this is what we saw. It offers high quality one-on-one tutoring or small group tutoring 3 times a week. And then it just has a couple quotes. Within months of schools shuttering last spring, the program paired about 430 college students with 2,000 students at the Boys and Girls Club across the state for 8 weeks over the summer. And so as you hear about this tutoring program, and as we talk about kind of our kids, what are we looking to do? Like, how are you guys feeling about the tutoring program? And I see Ms. Gardner checking in. Thank you, Ms. Gardner. And Thomas and Cliff, how are you guys feeling like as you read this? This is something that it's one-on-one or potentially small group. It's through the former governor, Governor Bill Haslam and his wife, Miss Haslam. But how is that? And I see Marnisha checking in. She's saying much needed. See Jordan checking in, saying hello, Propel. I see Miss Lewis saying hey, who I think is a teacher. Thank you guys for checking in.
I believe it's very needed, especially with the country going through the things that we went through here in the last year. I actually think the tutoring would have been a great idea before COVID. So I'm all for the tutoring, giving the specialized learning, seeing that all kids potentially learn different. So I think it's a great response.
Okay. And then what about you, Cliff?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic as well. I mean, it's high quality, and it's also with the one-on-one tutoring, you can kind of really just focus on how a child learns, like just like what Mr. Driver said. Like some kids, like they might be audio learners or more written word learners or whatever, more one-on-one or whatever like that. So I think that's fantastic. And then also up to 3 times a day, 3 times a week is also fantastic in the smaller groups. And it's like TJ said, it's a fantastic thing that we should have done before to kind of focus on these kids as well. But I mean, now that it's here now, I'm not going to cry over spilled milk, but it's great that it's here, and maybe we can capitalize and then move it on forward and keep it going even when the world opens back up.
Yep. And one thing that I'll ask first, let me give a quick shout out to just all the moms in the world. And I say that because every time my son's mom leaves, he just cuts up on me over there crying, snorting. And so, yeah, I can't imagine doing this all day. So, yeah, I'm going to take one. I'm going to try to put them back down. But just to let you guys know, I made it for about 30 seconds. But how do we get this message out to more parents? Like I see Jordan on here. Jordan, like, did you know about it? Marnisha, did you know about it? Like, how do we get this information out? Because I saw something in the news 2 weeks ago, essentially a partnership with Meharry and TSU that were looking for future doctoral students, and they had a lot of women, but they found no males, and so it just kind of starts spreading out. But how do we take this information and really get it across Nashville so we can really know and put our parents in contact? And while you guys start that out, Clip and Thomas, I'm gonna go try to put them down one more time.
All right. For the most part, I think like what we're doing here, this kind of is helpful. Is reaching out to many people, and if we can just keep the word out by like you should probably have an email blast, or the parents that we are already in contact with, we should let them know, and then have them, hey, it'd be great also if you can let another parent know, and then this should be every parent from K through 12 should know about this and understand that this is another option to kind of help them out, because I know a lot of parents are kind of going through all kind of stuff dealing with this beer bugs for the most part. So that's my take on it. What do you think about it, Mr. Driver?
I believe it needs to be commercialized. It needs to be advertised just as well as some of the different things. It needs to definitely be commercialized. The teachers need to be mandated as far as letting their students know. Emails and texts, those are great tools. But when you're dealing with the community, in my opinion, you kind of have to get in their face, because there's so many distractions going on in the world on top of Corona. So if this is in particular to the children who have been labeled as left behind, or, whatever those particular reasons are, I just feel that it needs to be more commercialized, and it needs to be mandated by the teachers. It needs to be in all of the centers in the communities. It needs to be up at the store. There needs to be news footage of it. It needs to be internet footage of it, because if we're talking about getting the kids back to normalization and trying to take this terrible situation and turn it into a good situation, then everybody needs to be on board, from administration down to the kids, parents, teachers. Everybody needs to be on one accord and not look at it as a summer school.
Okay.
I know in other states they have year-round school. Mm-hmm. So there are children in America who really don't comprehend what a summertime is. They pretty much know that they go to school and they get a break, more like a spring break, but not a summer vacation.
Yep.
Let
me jump in just with a couple of the comments. I think what you just said, Tommy, she said, Miss Brunson says very beneficial, but my question, how do you get a child to do extra tutoring when they hate school? Marnisha comes back with just how do we get the message out? Flyers, contacting parents, events. George, alumni cohort 3, you have to be connected to the schools. I received info via email, so it made me knowledgeable about the program and what would the intel be. Marnisha coming back. Marnisha, we need to get Marnisha to help us promote, because she knows what's going on, how to get it out. Mass text to the parents who have numbers logged, phone calls, and then make it fun. Learning doesn't always have to be one way. I hate that we have made it seem that way. So a lot of good feedback coming through just as we talk about getting the word out. And this has been really helpful. And I think as a team, and I know Torvis is listening, I think we're going to sit down and try to figure out. We got a couple of plans, but this feedback is really helpful on how we do it at a higher level. Next thing that we want to talk about, something that's been popping up. And so the summer school update. So you got tutoring, with Governor Haslam, you got summer school that starts June 7th, and it's going to be 70, I think over 70 schools. They'll have transportation, they'll have breakfast, they'll have lunch. And so what feedback have you guys been hearing? Well, really, for like TJ and Thomas, if you can just talk about your parent interaction this past weekend. It was your first event. You got a chance to meet parents at the Easter egg hunt. We were socially distant, but we were able to communicate. And how was that experience for you guys?
It was exciting. It was exciting to get back out around friends and family, and just hearing from a lot of the parents. There just seems to be a lot of confusion on where the country is headed with education, where Tennessee is headed, like what's the new expectations. I felt a lot of confusion, and I felt like Propel was able to give some answers. And I think in the community right now, people are so confused that they just want clarity with answers so that they can ascertain their life around where education is going at now.
All right. Yeah, for me, that was our first event with Josh Leach and Leach Foundation. I think it was third or fourth annual, I believe so, and it's been growing year over year. And to be able just to reach out to the community that I was in, I used to go to that park when I was a kid, when I was a lot of those kids' ages, and I used to go to that park, play basketball, hang out with my friends as well. And now, as a grown up and as an adult, and I can give back to community in the same way that it gave to me. And I got to meet a lot of parents and hear some of their frustrations with everything that's going on with this virtual learning situation. And I got to hear a lot of good things that I had working as well. And just to kind of just be out and little by little social distance, and it just kind of made us remember and think about the things we took for granted before when the world was closed, but when the world was open and whatever. So that's really about it for me. I had a great time. Can't wait to do it again. I'm really interested in doing more things like that, where I can just be out and be with my feet on the ground and hands out, touching people and just talking to people and just hearing like people's personal story, understanding their why.
Mm-hmm. So we want to hear from you guys as well. So this, in the next 30 to 45 days, you got TN Ready that's coming up. And Candace, I know you have clear responses and feedback for that. So we got TN Ready, we have prom, and then we have graduation at the end of May. And just for you guys, as parents all on here, feel free to check in and let us know how you feel. Like, are you sending your kid back for the TN Ready test? For our parents who have kids in high school, the prom is coming. It's some kids who missed it, some kids who have never got a chance to experience it. So how do you feel about those three things with prom, TN Ready, and graduation coming up? And Candace just says, is there going to be a link to the former governor's tutoring info so parents can find it? And if one of you guys know, yeah, that's one of the things we'll shoot out to our network and make sure our parents got it. But let us know what you're thinking. As I think about TN Ready, there's been a big discussion that's been going on because we have to have, based on the state law, at least 80% of our families have to opt in and actually send their kids to school to take the TN Ready test. And I think right now the capacity of the schools with kids being in person and the other percentage of kids being virtual, I don't think it's at 80%. And so it's interesting, like, as we think about transportation plans, as we think about school safety, as we think about school capacity, and I know the district is putting together their individual school plans, but how is that for parents? Like, in TJ, specifically for you, I think you got a kid that may be in at least the fourth or fifth grade. Are they virtual or are they at home? And then how are you feeling about, do you think parents who have their kids virtual will have the capacity to get to school?
Well, two of my kids are virtual and one is back in school.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally think going back to school and getting that human activity, that type of love, that type of direction, I think that's that's a better way for mentoring and learning, but I'm also open to the new generation. I'm open to the virtual learning.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm just more interested in how we will develop the younger mind with the virtual learning, because virtual learning to me, it kind of puts elementary and middle school kids in a college setting.
Mm-hmm.
And with it being so brand new, they're used to being on social sites and internet and playing on the phones, and those things generate a different type of way of looking at those devices when you use them. So when you use those devices that are used for fun and now it's time to learn, the kid, it's like how, and it'll take time. I'm just interested more so in the steps that we will take for those kids learning in that virtual setting, because especially in a community, we all may live in the community, but every single household is different.
Yep.
Everybody's parents are doing different things, some of the same things, some are different foundations, different backgrounds. So to look at the community and say, oh well, we're going to give it to them this way, I think you have to look a little closer to see that yes, we are all sharing the same driveway. Some apartment complexes are sharing the same laundromats and dryer, so, but every household itself is different. So, I think we need to look a little closer into how we can specifically help that child in that particular situation with that parent.
Yep, and Marnisha says, right, and Candace is, Candace says, trying to keep my kids and elderly parents from getting COVID, and then the school is telling me I have to send my child in person for this test. We have sacrificed so much to stay healthy, and I think, and I'm just listening to the feedback even last week when we had this discussion. What I heard, in my opinion, I heard a lot of parents wanting to send their kids back, and they think that's the best place for them to be is back. But also they had a lot of reluctance around the safety of it. The vaccine has been rolling out, people are getting vaccinated, but the vaccine doesn't necessarily mean you still won't get COVID. And so you do have some parents who have, fragile, family members or grandparents at the house. And so this 80% threshold is going to be interesting. And then Rhea, shout out to Rhea cohort 3. Rhea says, this is an interesting dynamic. I wonder what the outcome will be. What do you think, Cliff?
I think it's a good thing. I think like TJ said, just going from these kids been using these tablets and these computers as play toys, and now to cross over, and now they're in like literally a college setting. Now you have to know how to email and text and what Google document to send, whatever, and all this together. And I think it's a lot for these kids to learn, as opposed to they could have transitioned over the course of time to understand these computers and tablets. Yes, they're fun to play on, but they can also be used as a tool for education and also more important things. And to just throw a kid into that, and it's a drastic change also. And then also a lot of these kids are at prime years where they're developing, like learning social skills and how to deal with boys, talking to girls, and just on a platonic level, and how to understand how to just to talk to people, and using those skills are going to be very important in their professional lives as they grow up. And then we're robbing these kids of that. And so, like you said, with the vaccine rolling out, so a lot of people may feel a little bit more comfortable sending their kids to in-person classroom settings. But I think it's a good thing. But I can understand how a lot of parents can be reluctant to send their kids back when they're trying to keep everybody safe and keep everybody healthy. It kind of goes against everything. But I don't know, man. I don't know. No, sometimes it's like the chicken or the egg. Which one comes first? So
the chicken or the egg. I mean, that's a real conversation. And it's something we don't know. like TJ said, every household is different. And I'll be honest, I had no plans of sending little John back. And then I just realized as we were getting into April, I mean, he was really starting to become effective. His math grades were the lowest they have ever been in his academic career. And, we just had to make the decision. And so when he does get home, drop his clothes at the door, hop in the shower, put his clothes immediately in the washer. But yeah, it was just a different situation that I wasn't expecting until, things just it kept getting worse. So
it's just funny because I have a middle schooler, and this is her first year of middle school. And right before all this happened, she was so excited to leave elementary school and go to middle school. And she was so excited because, oh man, Daddy, the food's gonna be better here, and it's gonna be little kids around, and yada yada yada. And then the first year of this, and she literally hasn't laid eyes on a middle school. She's only been doing everything virtual, and I can only imagine how a lot of these kids are adjusting. How a lot of these freshmen who were excited to go to high school, or a lot of these kids who are about to graduate high school, or leaving middle school, entering middle school, or leaving elementary school, or a lot of these kids, this is their first day of school, and this is a big memory for them, and had to do it virtual.
Yeah, had to do it virtual.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Like I remember as a child myself how just that first day of school you were so excited for it.
Mm-hmm.
To just plan everything, and to have all your books and all your classes and everything, and who you're gonna sit by and who you're gonna talk to in class, and which teacher's gonna be your favorite teacher. And now they're just sitting behind a computer wearing a sweatshirt.
Mm-hmm. So this is interesting. This is what I want to do with just Thomas and Cliff. And so what I love about these guys as organizers, one, they just hit the ground running. Tierra and Torvis have been just holding it down. If you're watching this, I'm pretty sure you've heard from Torvis or Tierra in the last 3 to 5 months. Mm-hmm. And now, we're finally bringing on some new energy to support them and help them and really grow this movement. But I want you guys just to talk a little bit about this Saturday. One of the things that you guys are doing is socially distant, but just give the detail and just talk about some of the things that you want to hear from parents, and then get some feedback, and maybe people will share it out and tell their friends about it.
Oh, well, this Saturday we will be having a Zoom talk, a continuation as far as how to get specific help from PROPEL. Torvis has had situations that's letting us also know that a lot of time the parents does not know what is the complete protocol on if their child does this or if their child does that. Like, what are the options? We usually just go about, okay, well, administration or principal or teacher told us this, not knowing that there were actually, a few more options that we could have opened those doors to see if that could help the child. So this Saturday will be a great time for all supporters, grandparents, parents, aunties, youth coordinators to express so that we can put down what you're saying so that we can see how to go about implementing it in the curriculum. As far as even things as far as having our own, not depending so much on the system, but being able to come up with our own ways of, even if it's something as small as doing a play with the little girls. I think that's one of the things that we're trying to come up with, how to interact with our children, incentive for the parents, programs for the parents, because a lot of the kids are, they're just, we come from an era where, the parents and grandparents or guardians pretty much just told you go do your work or go to school. So we're trying to come up with all of the different avenues as far as helping the parent kind of start to comprehend what it is that's being asked of from their child. and why our grades are going down so rapidly, of course, due to COVID. But how do we take this situation and benefit and move forward for the future? Because, you know, we have a lot of us have multiple kids, so we have younger children who are looking up to the older children in the household. And if we don't implement and start controlling the way that this pandemic has hurt us, if we don't turn around and make the pain a joy, then those that are watching are getting ready to follow in those same footsteps. So we have a great turnout. But we actually are more interested in taking your information and implementing it, not just sitting around talking about it. It's a great subject. It's a great topic. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine and dandy. But how do we start to make steps, even if we take baby steps, and it may take to next year to change. Some things may take 3 months to change. Some things may take 3 years. It's kind of like a lawsuit, you never really know, but it's more important to, if we're going to talk about it now, what are we going to do about it? Talking is one thing, but moving into action and staying engaged with everyone, just bringing more of a family atmosphere, because you might have a parent down the street that could help you with a situation, and you're sitting at home not knowing what to do, but you're not treating your neighbor as you would want to be treated. So we're bringing it all together, and when you have that amount of people working together, the kids' outcome should be a beautiful one.
Yeah, that was good. That was fantastic, man. He hit the nail right on the head there with what's going on this Saturday. And then in my own words, I'm going to piggyback on a lot of stuff that he said for the most part. It's just really a great way for parents to understand that you don't have to just sit in your own frustration. Like there's organizations out there. There's a lot of help for you, and there's a lot of like other people that might know things that you might not be privy to. And like Natural Propel is big on that. Like linking parents with other parents that might have went through certain issues that they were going through, or linking parents to teachers that are all about, look, I'm a teacher as well, and I'm a parent also, and I want to be a part of the system and also help the system from inside out. And a lot of the Propel is big on just helping parents just understand education here in Nashville and how it has been going, and focusing on what has not been working, and making sure we're not doing those things, and making sure we're doing things that get our kids proper literacy rates, like getting these kids out of the school to prison pipeline. Like all these kids should, and then our neighborhoods are changing so much from all over the city, and these are going to be affecting all kind of kids, not just Black and brown kids. If we can have like great schools everywhere, I know that's like a big crazy thing to kind of put out, but if we can have great schools everywhere, why not? We have highways everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Why not every kid that lives somewhere, whatever school they should be zoned for, it should be a fantastic school, because we're raising like future attorneys and future politicians and future doctors and future parent organizers, and one of these kids might have the cure for cancer in their head. And while you go to a failing school, when you don't know what that kid could have in his head, one of these kids can make the next Facebook or the next Google. And we need to focus on every child and make sure that they're college ready, community ready, or something. So that's a lot of it for me. So that's what I'm here for. Just trying to make sure every kid that I touch and come across, or every parent that I do my best to make sure that they get to live their dream, or even have a dream. Some of these kids don't even have something they wish for. It's really devastating sometimes when you ask a child, like, what do they want to be when they grow up, and they haven't even thought about what they're going to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of it. So,
man, this is good commentary. For the first time you guys on, man, you guys treating it like professionals, man. You might have your own show one day, the TJ show or the Cliff show.
Batman, Superman.
Come on now. Come on
I
now.
mean, it is when we're talking about for a great cause and Propel fights for a great cause. Because it's just so many issues we have, you know, in the community. So when you have some group that's on a major level like Propel, meeting with Biden here this year, being on Dismantled on BET, partnering with other great foundations for egg hunts, like, and that's just this year. So when you think about what Tierra and Torvis has done, you know, from the ground up, you know, it's amazing. So I can't wait to see all of the footage put together so that, you know, when it's implemented, people can, you know, respect more than winning the game, and respect the people who, you know, working hard and at practice. So I think Tennessee, I think in the next 2 years with the way that things are going, you know, it's very possible that we could achieve the heights to be a model for the rest of the country.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a good conversation. I see Rhea jumping in. Yes, making sure our children are college ready and community ready. I see you guys. I like that theme with the bullying by the system. It's time to fight back. Marnisha Gardner, I think he calling out one of his family members, but a former cohort member ready to set it off like little Bootsy. So we ready for that. All right, comments and clip. Torres, give you guys a shout out. I'm gonna do a little feeding. TJ and I got a one-on-one at 12, and so if it's nothing else, I see Marnisha jumping on. She ready to set it off. We're gonna keep this thing going. Thank you guys so much for jumping on this week, and then we'll definitely see you back next week. Maybe we'll have a full house once Tanya comes back off vacation. But again, thank you guys, Cliff, TJ. Thank you. First time jumping on. I think you guys crushed it. A lot of good positive feedback. And I will see you guys soon. Well said. Kudos to y'all. I'll see you, Jordan.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Let me